Hi guys, we are here with Celia from Yacht Club Games. How are you doing today, Celia?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being on. So first, do you just want to tell everyone a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Celia. I'm the marketing director at Yacht Club Games. So what that means is everything you see public facing, whether it be having our games appear in like a Nintendo Indie Direct, all the way to getting PR keys and handling community management. But I also have my hand in other things as well, like licensing. So like anything that you see on the shelves or like our Shovel Knight Nendoroid, I have my hand in that too.
Wow, that's really cool that you just have your hand in so many things. I know sometimes you just do like community stuff when you have to do marketing management. So the fact that you get to deal with all that sounds really fun. How did you get into like marketing?
I just applied. So I think like it's a pretty long story, but long story short, so I've been in the video game industry for about 9 years now. I started working at Yacht Club Games about 3 years ago. So I interviewed right before the pandemic. The pandemic happened. I was like, do I have a job? And they were like, yeah, of course. So work from home. Yes, I've been there ever since. But before that, I worked in marketing video game hardware. And before that, I was in mobile gaming. I worked for an AR company that was before Pokemon Go. After Pokemon Go, I think explaining AR was like a lot easier. But yeah, in general, I just applied and things happened.
That's cool. And Yacht Club Games seems like such a fun company to work for. I don't know if you were like a fan of the Shovel Knight series before or if you got into it like once you got the job.
Oh, well, I dabbled in some Shovel Justice before. Yeah, when I went in, I had played Shovel of Hope. I hadn't beaten, but I did beat Plague of Shadows, so I think that's funny. Because it was kind of considered like the new game plus of Shovel of Hope, slash its own campaign. But I've gotten way, way more into Shovel Knight. I live and breathe it now. And our new IPs.
Yeah, and you guys just had a new DLC drop, right? Could you tell us a little bit more about that new DLC?
Yes, I can because I absolutely love Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Okay, so the DLC we released is the Puzzlers Pack DLC. It is a DLC pack for Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon's like a puzzle action, like roguelite adventure. It takes everything that we love about like falling block puzzles and mashes it together with roguelites. It's like the first of its kind, so it can be a little complicated to explain, but like once you start playing and delving into it, it's seriously addicting, which is awesome. It's our canon spin-off game, so it takes place during the events of Shovel of Hope, and it's like a fun, cute little adventure. So after we released Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, we had promised that we were going to have like three like packs of expansive DLC, and the Puzzlers pack is the first one. In true Yacht Club Games fashion, it's all free. So if you own the base game on Nintendo Switch or Steam or PlayStation 4, it already updated so you can play. It is so much content. Like it adds new challenges, relics, hidden bosses, hats. Hats are important because they're run modifiers, so they're not just cute. They actually do something. And like I feel like I'm just discovering new Easter eggs that the devs put in like every single time I played. It's so much fun.
Man, I'm really excited to check it out because I haven't played the DLC yet. But I just like my most of my knowledge and like what I've played of Shovel Knight actually comes from the DS, from the 3DS actually. So I'm excited to actually check out some of the new games which I haven't gotten a chance to yet, and you just make me excited for it.
Oh, yay. Thank you for the support. Yeah, the DS is awesome. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
I'm so
someone just
sad when
said
the I
R.I.P.
know there's so many games we need to get. But yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so since you've played some Shovel of Hope, it takes place during the events of there, so you'll see a lot of familiar characters. You can play as just about every single like Order of No Quarter member and like hero that you meet in Shovel of Hope. So there's a lot of characters and different abilities to choose from. So you can have fun. I love the game so much. Like it's not even just like marketing me. It's just
Yeah.
like in general when I'm like get off work and I'm like, oh, I need to wind down. What I want to play, and I'm like, Pocket Dungeon.
That's awesome though. That's awesome that it's that fun to play. So you enjoy your job and then enjoy what you do as well. I know someone
Yeah,
said hard to believe how long Shovel Knight's been around. That is true.
yeah. It's been almost 10 years ago. Like our Kickstarter anniversary was of March of this year. So it's like when Waz, Sean, Ian, and David were like, "Hey, like let's start our own company with shovels and coolness." I don't actually, I don't know if you do you want to delve into the history of Yacht Club? I can do an abridged
Yeah,
like
that'd
if
be
you want.
awesome.
Yeah, of course. So like a lot of my colleagues, like the guys I just mentioned, they used to be colleagues at Way Forward. And the thing about a lot of game studios, if you're working on tons of different projects, is that you'll be together for one project, but once that project's done, everyone gets split up on different teams, where depending on where their skills are needed. And they had wanted to work together on after they finished up a project, they were like, "Oh, we want to stay together. Is that possible?" And unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that they couldn't. But they had so much fun and they became such close friends that they wanted to continue to work together. And a little silly idea of Shovel Knight came to be while they were like having lunch, and it ended up snowballing into, "Oh my gosh, let's do this. Let's start our own studio. Oh my god, launch on a Kickstarter and let's see what happens." So yeah, 10 years later, that was a really good choice. So we created Shovel Knight, and then we fulfilled all our Shovel Knight promises in the Kickstarter. So we released different campaigns, like Plague of Shadows, which is the one I mentioned earlier that I beat before Shovel of Hope, Spectre of Torment, King of Cards, Shovel Knight Showdown, thus completing Treasure Trove. And then since then, we've released like two spin-off games, which is Pocket Dungeon, the game you're talking about, Shovel Knight Dig. We published Cyber Shadow, and then we recently announced Mina the Hollower, which is like our newest IP, separate from the Shovel Knight series. And I'm really, really excited about that too. It's so cool.
Yeah, I know someone in the chat was actually just talking about how they're excited for it. Is there anything you can tell us more about that game or what people can expect for that game?
Heck yeah. I love talking about Mina. Okay, so so the game's called Mina the Hollower. We announced it in our last Yacht Club Games presence last year. We actually decided to go back to our roots for this, and we had announced it alongside a Kickstarter so we could build a community and people could invest alongside us that we're investing in the game's creation as well to make it even better. And that went very well. So Mina the Hollower is like a top-down adventure game. It's like a love letter to the Game Boy Color. It plays very much like Castlevania mixed with Bloodborne
Ooh.
and Link's Awakening, which is three very different games, but oh my god, it fits so well. Like, what's really cool about it, it's very charming, like the Shovel Knight series, but since Mina is a bit darker, we get to really lean into like the spooky elements of the game. So there are a lot of darker elements to it, but the comedy is there, and the team has me play test the game when we're done with levels. Like we finished September a little while ago, and so they all watched me play it. You guys will get what September is eventually, but play the game. But they had me finish it, and I was like so sad when they took the controller away from me. So I'm just as excited about this game as you guys are, if not more. We're excited to get in your hands. It's still very deep in development, but once we start getting closer to release and you like start seeing it on the horizon, I'll definitely like make a like heck ton of noise about it.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting. And just like seeing how excited you are talking about, I'm like, okay, this sounds really cool, especially incorporating Bloodborne. I haven't played Bloodborne, but I played some other Dark Souls series. And I love Souls series or Souls like games. So that
Mhm.
seems fun that they're going to incorporate that. Do you guys have a release date for Mina yet?
I don't even know the release date. So since it's so deep in development, our whole thing is that since we are an independent studio, we release the game when it's ready, because we hold true to Yacht Club Games quality. So by the time that you do get the game in your hand, it's going to be polished and it's going to be the most perfect version of itself, which unfortunately takes a lot of time. But once we have a release date in mind, we'll be sure to sound the alarms. I'll get it everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone will be excited and like waiting for it. I'm sure it's for like Nintendo Switch and all of those as well, or maybe for Nintendo Switch.
We're going to be giving it the Shovel Knight treatment. So if there's a platform I can put Mina on, I will definitely do.
I think we answered that question, but I'm just making sure I go through chat. If you guys have any questions for Celia while we have her on, please let me know. Ooh, Funnel has a question. Are there games that Yacht Club turned down that you wish got accepted, or was there anything you've seen in development that like hasn't seen the light of the day? Light of day?
Oh man, that's a question. So when you say turn down, it's like canceled projects, or because like the thing is though is that we everything that I've personally seen that like we considered we have started working on. So I haven't seen anything that we've turned down, I guess.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what they meant. And they're also wondering, is there going to be able like beta testers for some of these new games coming out?
So sometimes we do play tests. So in the during the pandemic times, we did have like some online beta testers, but it was more trusted friends and family. If or like people that like we know really really well. Moving forward, that's a very good question because I know for Pocket Dungeons DLC, we did do a early preview of the game while we were doing it in development, just so balancing and we could get community feedback to make the game like as great as possible. Whether we'll do that for like another upcoming DLC is a very good question. I would definitely suggest just joining our Discord, which is at Yacht Club Games. I realize I don't have a link or anything to share, but if you look it up, I post it on our Twitter page all the time. Joining our Discord. Yeah, sometimes we'll do open calls to like play in the early preview.
Okay, cool. And yeah, guys, you can see I put the Twitter and Yacht Club Games' website here in chat, so you guys should see
Thanks.
it. You guys can grab it. Um, oh, we have another question from Gray Fox. Says, as a marketing director, what is the hardest part of marketing video games?
I would say how fast the news cycle is. It's very focused on to like what is new and like what is the like, oh, this game is out now. Okay, cool. But then after it's out, then interest can like, dwindle, but like incredibly fast. Like 10,000 games get really, I'm just making up a number right
Yeah.
now, but like 10,000 games to that exact T get released like every single day. So being able to keep visibility and keep things fresh can be sometimes difficult. And like, we're continuously supporting our games. So it's not like we're the type that like throws out a game and then we're like, okay, later nerds, like on to the next one. We continuously support it. So being able to rekindle that interest and then like the news cycle can be a little bit difficult sometimes. But I think our games speak for themselves and our fan base is and slash community is absolutely wonderful. So they help us keep the magic alive through the development cycle.
That sounds nice. It's very nice when you have like people who are supporting you through it too. So it's not like, okay, just trying to push out content, which can seem a little weird sometimes. So that's great. I'm glad to hear that. I know besides like finding a job, Limsey is wondering is like, was there anything in like your childhood or youth that made you say like, okay, this is what I want to do for a living? If there was any, like growing up, was there something like, okay, I love games, I love just like all of this, and you want to be in the world?
Okay, so I've like always grown up with video games. I've played like I'm an N64 kid, so like I like once I got it in my hand, I was like, yeah, yeah, this is my thing. But there is actually a very specific moment that I remember being like, this is amazing. So in Nintendo Power, there was an advertisement for Paper Mario 64 and they were making fun of in the ad. You had like the free PS1 or PS2, whatever they were like giving away at the time in other magazines, where it'd be like free demo.
Yeah.
Well, obviously with Nintendo 64, they can't throw a cartridge in, like that's not feasible for how expensive it is. So they had a free demo of Paper Mario, and it was just a cutout of Mario. And I remember looking at that and being like, this is genius. Like this is the most high level. This is where peaking like of like advertisements go. And being so fascinated with it. And once I figured out that this was a job and something you could just apply to, I had to be in this industry.
Wow, that's that's cool. That is really funny. I've never seen that before, but man, funny marketing is so good. Just how creative people can get.
Really, you got it. But I just love that. That was so perfect. Still peak in my head. Peak marketing.
So is there anything that like since you've like played through Lost Shovel Knight and the DLCs, coming up with the DLC, like what are you most excited for people to see or play within the game?
Oh my god, there's so much. So like in Pocket Dungeon, like there's different challenges that you can do. We added like every playable character has four new challenges to discover. And like there's a few of them for like character challenges where they like switch up the game to like when you're playing a Spectre Knight, like at certain points you turn into Donovan and the playstyle completely changes. And there's like refract abilities where you get a new ability to discover. There's so much fun content in there. Like it's hard to pinpoint one. I am excited for people to figure out how to play as the Spin Wolves. People always ask, can you pet the dog? But no one asks, can you play as the dog or Spin Wolf? So I'm excited for people to figure out how to do that. I when I figured that out, I like flipped because like they didn't tell me.
Wait, so that you can actually play as them in it?
Yeah, you can play as it. It's a secret way to do it, but if you're playing around in the hub, that's my only hint. Yeah, you can turn into a spin wolf when you're going through the level.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just me and you here. Definitely no one else is
Yeah,
watching. You could sell all
no,
the secrets. Tell us
I
all of
think
it, where to
that's
find it. Yeah, but tell us the secret. And you were saying about the hats. If you want to talk a little bit
yeah.
more about the hats, that sounded really cool.
Yeah, there are tons and tons of hats. There's like 90 hats, which is funny because when I wrote my marketing copy, like this was ages ago, I put like at least 20 hats and like there's like almost 100 now. It's funny how things change in development. But anyways, so there's different hats that modify your runs and it can do different things where it can make, enemies more difficult. It can make the enemies certain ones not affect you. It can add new ones. It adds level hazards. It changes up. There's this one that actually I don't want to spoil that, but it's really cute. Everyone wear the puppy hat. It's adorable.
Oh,
Find out what happens. So basically, like it just changes in different ways. There's cosmetic ones. You can stack them, so it just added different challenges. If you stack too many, like there's like this little chaos meter, and Mr. Hat's like, "What are you doing? Oh, don't!" And if you continuously play with a lot of hats, something interesting happens. So I would definitely suggest getting practicing stacking and then embarking on that challenge and seeing what happens. The team like threw in so many Easter eggs for consumers and like in the community to have fun and discover. So I'm just looking forward to people happily and or angrily tweeting at me. It should be great.
oh no! I'm sure you have to deal with the root of all of that, what people like and don't like, or.
It's fine. I enjoy it because it's like I'm an excited fan too. Like I am just as pumped to play this as the consumers are. So it's like same buddy, same.
Yeah, I guess you can say you wear a lot of hats, right?
Yeah, this in general we do because like we're only 20 people, and the company like that's it, and that includes like me. Me myself and I are the marketing team. So like I handle like marketing, PR, community, licensing, influencer relations. Basically anything you see is me and like then we have like our two teams, one working on Mina, one working on internal unnamed project. Ooh, what could that be?
Ooh,
And then we have some like partners that are working on Shovel Knight Dig and Pocket Dungeon. So
okay.
like we are really, really small.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice tight knit family. I mean, it seems like what you guys do is great. Like just like the response from the community or just following or because I have a lot of friends who like Shovel Knight and like a lot of people in the community who are really big fans of Yacht games. It just seems like the community is really just very nice and tight knit, which is always cool because you get that a better connection than say something like a AAA game company where you might just be tweeting out and you never get to hear back. It's really cool. I feel like for as a fan to be able to talk to their favorite creators or even people running the marketing. Like I feel like it's really nice.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. And yeah, because we are small, like we're able to have that personal touch with things. Like when you're emailing with us, you're literally emailing with us. Like it's not like it's like an agency or outsourced. And like we're beyond thankful for all the love and support that we've gotten from our friends and legions of fans throughout the years. Like the reason that we're here and we're able to create games is because of all of you guys, and it legitimately means the world to us.
That's so exciting. And because there's a couple people in the chat are like, hey, like, what is Shovel Knight? How would you like describe just like the Shovel Knight series overall, or like the games to like people coming in, they never played the game, they don't know what it is. How would you explain
Oh,
that?
Oh yeah, I haven't described Shovel Knight like as a whole in a while. Okay, so Shovel Knight is the original Shovel Knight series is like a sweeping class action adventure that's a love letter to the 8-bit style. My coworkers grew up with games like Mega Man and DuckTales and like all those like fun NES era games, and they fell in love with them. And they took their wealth of expertise and created a game like a Shovel Knight, which is a 2D platformer action adventure game, and it follows Shovel Knight on his quest to save his friend Shield Knight from the evil enchantress, and he encounters the Order of No Quarter, who are her minions that do her bidding. And it's a really fun 2D platformer. The controls feel great. The characters and the world is just delights you. I definitely would suggest checking it out. The cool thing about Shovel Knight is that the games are literally everywhere. You can get it on like literally every platform ever. So if whatever you play on, you can definitely check it out. And then from that Shovel Knight series, since we when we created Shovel of Hope, um, in our Kickstarter promise, we promised having like other DLC, which ended up being instead of just like a DLC, being its own action adventure and like own standalone game. So after Shovel of Hope, we created Plague of Shadows, which follows Plague Knight, which is one of the knights that you meet, or enemies, I guess, or bosses, so you want to call it, in the Order of No Quarter in Shovel Knight. And so you fight, like, you play as Plague Knight, and then you follow his story, and it's like a romance, and it's like really fun. And then you play as like Spectre Knight and his, and Spectre of Torment, and then you play King of Cards and King Knights. And then Showdown is basically this giant, like fighter kind of game. It's kind of like Super Smash Brothers, but all the characters that you met throughout the series. And so yeah, it's a lot of fun, and all of those games are sold as standalone versions, or you can pick it up in Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, which is on like every platform ever. So like PlayStation platforms and Nintendo platform. Well, platform, not because they closed the eShop on PlayStation Wii, but platform. It's also on Xbox. It's also on PC. You know, it's on GOG. It's on Humble Bundle. It's on Steam. Like we're everywhere. Go check it out. I love our games.
That's
I hope that
awesome.
wasn't too convoluted. It's like so much lore. I'm like shoving into like one
You're
little paragraph.
shoveling it in.
Yeah, I'm just you delve in.
No, that's awesome. And for someone who's hearing about it, where do you recommend they start? Like, can they just start anywhere, pick a game up, and it's fine? Is there like start with the beginning?
So okay, so fans always argue of like canonically of like, oh, like where does the timeline start? I would suggest playing Shovel of Hope first. I would play in line of um in Treasure Trove of Release. Because like the story, sure, like Spectre of Torment's events happened before Shovel of Hopes, but I feel like to appreciate everything, you have to start with Shovel of Hope, play through Treasure Trove, and if you want even more fun action, play Pocket Dungeon and Shovel Knight Dig. But yeah, I would just go in order. It's easier.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good to know.
Yeah.
The way you have it when you're looking at games with so many, it's like, okay, where do I start? Do I need to start here? But it's good to have an outline.
Yeah, no, of course, of
All
course.
right. This next question, I ask every guest who comes on my show this question, so it has to be taken very seriously. Most
Okay.
serious question ever. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
If
ready.
you can bring one superhero with you into the zombie apocalypse, who are you taking and why?
Shit. Okay, not a superhero, but I feel like I would just take Kirby because you could eat them, and then like that would just solve all of my problems. Like immediately, like no trauma involved.
That's funny. I think you would turn into zombie Kirby, so maybe he could protect you too.
Yeah, hopefully. Or this is about to get really awkward very quickly. I was imagining that it wouldn't be an ability because, like, sometimes when you eat like wallabies, you don't get anything from them.
Yeah.
So in my head, it would be like that, and we'd be like, okay, net zero, we're good.
No, I like it. I like it. That's super cool. Thank you so much for coming on today and telling us more about Shovel Knight and just your experience with Yacht Club games. Is there anything else like you just want to shout out or tell anyone before we head off today?
That's a good question. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and it was really nice meeting you. It's nice to finally like connect a face to like an email, so it's awesome. And then also, so if anyone wants more information on Yacht Club Games, we're at Yacht Club Games on everything. We recently started a TikTok, so go check that out. I'm trying to make TikToks. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So check that out too. And if anyone wants to hang out with the Yacht Club Games crew, we have our Discord. We hang out in there as well. We do ask dev questions, or you can ask us anything. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I think that's it for right now. Oh, and play Pocket Dungeon. It's so much fun.
Yes.
Do it.
Get it. Get it, guys. It's in the chat, and I'll put that Discord, and I'll get that TikTok. I didn't know there's a TikTok, so I'll put those in
Yeah,
the
it's
chat
brand
too.
new.
What is it?
But
Just Yacht Club Games?
yeah, we have consistent branding on literally everything. It's so nice.
Oh man, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Celia. Chat. I'll see you in a minute.